Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great night today. What is today? Wednesday. Is it? Yeah, it's already Wednesday. Holy cow. Hump day, middle of the week. So today, obviously, the White House came out with the crypto report. We have that. We'll talk about that quickly. I'm not going to get into it. It's like 160 some odd pages. You guys can run through it. We can run it through AI. It'll give you all the details you need on it. We'll go over just like the main titles of the different chapters that they're talking about there. We'll go over that quickly. We also have news on Cleanspark. We have news from Hive. We have also news about Mara, actually. And we have some bullish news stories as well. And we'll talk about obviously what Bitcoin did today. We had the Fed FOMC meeting today. That drove the market down. Bitcoin was down. Miners were down. Even Mara was down as well. Was up pre-hours and then it closed in the red, I believe it was. So we'll look at all that stuff. We'll get into Q&A as always, and we'll call it a day here. So let's take a look at what's going on here really quick. But first, we got to go through this. Non-financial advice for tuning only. Please do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what we got going on here with Bitcoin right now as it is. Okay, so there's Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a nice red candle today. It wasn't that bad. Had a nice wick down and came back up. So we went down all the way to a low of 115,728. And then we bounced back up and we closed at 117,830. So more or less a 2,000 swing on it. We were also higher at one point. We were at 118,809. So you could say pretty much a $3,000 swing on the price of Bitcoin today. But nonetheless, all that got cleared out and we're actually in the green here in Bitcoin. It seems like Bitcoin's 117,800 or so is like a magnet for this thing. It just always goes back down to that range. So that's at least kind of good, I believe. It's at least giving us a floor right now and it's just holding on to it. So that's great. I think this is just like, again, I'm sounding like probably like a broken record. It's just we're setting up that nice floor for it right now, a nice stepping stone to go forward higher in price of Bitcoin eventually. When that's going to be, maybe it'll happen in August, right? But we'll see what that all plays out like. Let's see, Ethereum today, was that down also today? No, that one actually finished up in the green after being down as well. So that one's starting to come back up a little bit here as well. It closed at 3,110. Right now it is at 3,144 roughly. Markets were mixed. Dow Jones was down. The NASDAQ was up just a little bit. S&P was down a little bit here. Miners, for the most part, were down. Bitfarms was down 3.23%. BitDeer was down 2.61%. That one's having a little rough time here. It got to 1563 here actually last week, and it's been heading downwards quickly here. Kang was down just a little bit, 0.63. Same thing with Kang. Kang reached a high of 575 about 2 weeks ago, and it's been coming down here. Cypher was down 4.05%. That one reached a high of 710, and it's at 545 right now. Cleanspark down 2.64. It reached a high of 1336. It's at 1142 right now, so that one's been coming down as well, even though Bitcoin has been flat. So we typically see that happening with the miners as well. When Bitcoin goes flat, the miners go down for some reason. It's just people don't have the patience to hold on to them. They just kind of run them up, and then they start slowly going out of them. Let's see, CORZ was down 1.12%. Hive was up 1.86%. I think that was based on the news that they got to 14 exahash, right? We'll talk about that. And we'll look at the numbers that we have for them here currently for the month of July. Hut 8 was up a little bit, 0.61. You can see this one got to a high of 2356. It's at 1982 right now. It's been coming down as well over the last 2 weeks. Then we got IREN. IREN's up 2.22% here. This thing had got up to a high of 2154. It's gone up a little bit more after that, but then it's come down here in the last 5 trading days. It was actually up today, which was kind of nice. So maybe right around there is the floor for it. We'll see if it holds the $15 range, something like that. Mara was down 0.36 after being green nicely, right? It was up like 6%, I think, in pre-hours and early hours, and then it definitely fell downwards. We got a story on Riot's compensation. Riot was down 0.59. That one got too high of 1534. It's been coming down here the last 4 days. Wolf was down 4.02%. Wolf is holding pretty steady here, all things considered. I got to a high of 563. It's down to 501 right now, but it's more or less holding steady. So that's the only one that I've seen do that, other than maybe CORZ. CORZ, once it fell, it's been holding kind of steady here right around $13 as well. Other BTC hodlers here. MicroStrategy was up just a little bit here, 0.1%. Galaxy was up nicely today, 8.37%. Kind of rebuilding all the losses that it had yesterday. Who else do we have here? Coin was up 1.63%. There is, what was it? Chase is partnering with Coinbase to, I believe it's for credit cards and for transfers, I think, or something like that. Metaplanet was up just a little bit, 1.09. Exodus was down 8.06. Semler was down up 1.07%. Sorry, Semler was here. Was down 1.89%. The blockchain group was up 8.08%. That one bounced off the 100 simple moving day average. Phoenix was down 0.57. Game was down 0.44. The small miners were down for the most part, except for Can was up just a little bit. Bitcoin miner ETFs were mixed. BitQ was up. BKCH was down. DApp was up. WGMI was down as well. And then the Ethereum holding companies were also mixed. We had Digital being down 3% here after getting to a high of 449, come down to 284, almost half. So that thing has lost almost 50% there. BTCS was down another 4.36% today. That thing got to a high of 849, down to 43. That's almost 50% loss there as well. BMNR actually bounced a little bit today, 7.5% to the upside. That thing is way down. That thing is down like 70% from the top where it got to $161. Now it's at 34. Game was down just a little bit, 0.1% here. And that thing is also down quite a bit, like 70 some odd percent here from the top of 287. SBET is up 252%. And that one is also down basically 50% from the top where it got to $40. It's now at $19. So we'll see how those guys do going forward here on it. What else do we have here? That's it. Bitcoin dominance here for today was actually, looks like for Wednesday was up a little bit. We got to 61.6. We're down a little bit right now to where we at 61.51. So a little bit drop there, nothing major. Looking at the miners here, how they did or how they are doing in the new hours here or pre-hours, we can see that BitDeer is up 2.22%. Bitfarms is up 3.3%, kind of wiping out the loss that it had here today. So that's kind of looking good. Kango is actually down another 0.62%. Cypher is actually up 2.75%, so not quite wiping out the losses there, but getting close. And then Cleanspark's up 0.96%, same thing, not getting close to where it was. Core Scientific was up 2.57%, so that one corrected here from today. Hive is up another 2.7%, so that's on top of what it had already today. So that one's looking pretty good. Hut 8 is up another 0.4% right now. IREN is up another 3.34%, so that's looking pretty good there as well. Mara is up a little bit, 0.6% it looks like right now. Riot is, let's see here, up 1.11%, so that one at least got back some of the losses there as well, a little plus side on it. And TerraWolf is up only 1.6% on it. As far as Bitcoin for the month of July here, well, it's only up 9.59%. We got basically the next 20 some hours left to go in the month of July. We'll end up in the green unless we go down 10% or something like that in the next 20 hours. I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know. I'm not counting on that happening here. Bitcoin ETF inflows here. Let's take a look at that really quick as well. Get that updated. Yesterday we were positive. IBIT actually reported being positive on it. Today we're looking at maybe being slightly positive, 12.7. We'll see where IBIT, BlackRock basically comes in at for today. But definitely IBIT has been buying here recently, so that's good. Good to see there. All right, let's get into some of the bullish BTC stories that we do have here on Bitcoin really quick. And we can see here that 608 billion Visa CEO compares Bitcoin and crypto to e-commerce in the 1990s. In latest earnings call, we may witness massive adoption in the next decade. He's right. So I believe we're going to have massive adoption in not only crypto, Bitcoin. Miners should do very well at that point as well, but we'll keep an eye on it, right? But this is great, right? People are definitely changing their tune here, which is nice to see. Adoption. Love seeing that. Next here is just in 5 billion 21 Capital CEO says there's a lot of institutional demand for Bitcoin on Wall Street. He's been talking about that for quite a while here recently. This is probably like the fourth or fifth time I've heard him say that. So that's encouraging, right? We need that to obviously pump our bags here with Bitcoin and everything else. So I'm loving that. This here, I thought this was kind of interesting here. 103 years ago, Henry Ford predicted Bitcoin. Ford would replace gold with energy, currency, and stop wars. That was a tagline here in the New York Post back in, doesn't say the date on there, but basically 103 years ago. So that was probably back in 1922, right? If we're going back 103 years. So that's kind of interesting that he also saw as energy being a potential currency there, right? Energy fuels everything pretty much. Fuels, well, electricity, what we're doing here, what you guys are watching, what you're, everybody works for energy. So kind of makes sense there. And it's surprising that he actually saw that 100 years ago. So that's kind of awesome there. Next year, we're going to talk about a couple of things from the miners here that we do have here as well. This is from Matthew Schultz on X. He posted this. So they've been down on production here the last couple of days. I think today they came in around 17 or 18 Bitcoin per day. The other day they were like at 21, 20, something like that. So I think this kind of explains to me why they're down here a little bit. So he writes, in Bitcoin mining, like many other types of compute, heat is your enemy. Air cooling, immersion cooling, hydro cooling, and all to remove heat from the servers. Heat is also your enemy on the power supply side. Many operators use aluminum cables and bury them underground. There's no place for the heat to go. This leads to thermal failures and low uptime. You've noticed our Bitcoin daily production has been off our usual pace lately, and it's by design. Taylor Monick, Brad Audis, and Brian Janes, Scott Garrison, and their teams identified an area of insufficiency and resolved it for the long haul. The modification to some of the critical load infrastructure are at our facilities have been upgraded. I personally think it looks like art. How about you? So looks like they had cables running underground. And if they were, aluminum instead of copper, that doesn't help either. But this would definitely be a better setup here if you're going above ground. You can keep the wires cool. When I was managing our little Bitcoin mining farm that we had, we did the same thing because one, we had already concrete pad in there. It didn't make sense to rip up the concrete pad and put in wiring to go underground. So we just did this, the conduit above. And yeah, if you have a great electrician, they can definitely do some artwork with those pipes there. But that does look pretty cool. So that's kind of why we saw a decline. And it's probably from the heat and everything else in the area where they're probably working. But yeah, it does look like a pretty trippy place. Okay, so there's that. And then next, we're going to talk about Mara here really quick as well. We got two stories on Mara actually that we're going to cover. We'll get into this one first here. So this is from the Bitcoin Architect. He posted this. So basically what the F, Mara, and Fred Thiel there. This is comparing the compensation packages for the CEOs there. You can see that NVIDIA for 2025, Jensen Huang got 49.8 million. So that's NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA, the world's most profitable company or the most valued company right now as it is. He got only 49 million here. If you go down just a couple down below that, you got Mara here. Fred Thiel for 2024 got 43.24 million, right? With the market cap of 5-6 billion, whatever they're at right now on it. So does that make sense? Probably not, right? That's why I talked about it last night when we did the stream about Mara's quarterly results. Right, this to me is outrageous, and I talked about it there, and it seems like other people are noticing as well. So yeah, I'm not a fan of this. So just wanted to point that out to you guys that is pretty extravagant as far as their CEOs. And it's not just him, there's other CEOs in the mining space as well that get very, very lucrative pay packages, basically. Okay, there's that. Next story that we have on Mara here. This is from the Miner Mag here. Auradine shipped 73 million worth of Bitcoin miners to Mara in H1, the first half of 2025. And Mara received 73.3 million worth of teraflux Bitcoin miners from Silicon Valley chip startup Auradine during the first half of 2025, according to the company's latest quarterly filing. So that's we kind of figured that it was going there, and I probably should go back to here where you guys can actually see this. Sorry. So yeah, so at least we know, we kind of figured they're going to be getting them from Auradine. We didn't know if it's going to be all of them from Auradine, but it does seem like it's going to be all of them from Auradine. And then we haven't really heard much from Auradine as far as what their progress is on the next generation miners. What are their efficiencies, things like that. Continuing on here, the amount was paid in advance, 22.3 million in Q1 and 51 million in Q2, representing a significant portion of Mara's 108 million in cash outflows for vendor advances in the first half of the year. Okay, so that was kind of interesting there. And I could probably look it up. We won't do it today, but I'll probably look at it tomorrow for Auradine as far as to see if there's anything on their website to report as far as new ASICs coming out or anything like that. All right, so there's that one. And then the good news story that we have here, Hive continues to accelerate their growth here quite nicely. I think last week we talked about them getting 13 exahash. So it's like they're installing almost 1 exahash here a week, which is awesome to see. So Hive Digital Technologies surpasses 14 exahash milestone as global expansion accelerates towards 25 exahash here. This is what they had to say. They are proud to announce that it has surpassed 14 exahash per second of Bitcoin mining hash rate across its operations in Canada, Sweden, Paraguay, and in the process has realized a current Bitcoin annual run rate of 315 million, with mining margins of approximately 55% after electricity cost, based on the current hash price per Bitcoin hash price index. Okay, and then Hive remains firmly on track to reach 18 exahash by the end of the summer, and 25 exahash by the U.S. Thanksgiving, positioning the company as one of the world's most efficient and fastest scaling Bitcoin miners. Yeah, I would say they're going to be in that group of top 5 miners possibly there when it comes to this. So I love seeing this. Right, the stock is doing a little bit better here recently, and hopefully when it gets to like 18 exahash by maybe the end of August here, it will do even better for you guys, the ones that are in it. My only, I wouldn't say it's really a concern. My only hold on it is they don't have any operations in the United States. I don't know if that's going to hold the stock back from doing maybe what it could do, but that's my only kind of hold on it right now. Okay. But yeah, this is great news there. What else? Everything else, yeah, we kind of covered it. Yeah, so that is it. That's great news here. And you can see here, based on what they are mining here in July, we can go down here as well. We can see having those miners plugged in. Let's see here, July. Got into running up approximately 20 days on average here. That got us to the revenue of 22.6 million, right? And then later on, they're running at 31. Excuse me. Should be probably like, can't remember how many days are in August. I think it's 31, and this should be September here. I just noticed that. September 25. So it's going to be a pretty good, good quarter for them. The reason I say that is because if you look up here, in June, it looks like the quarter ending in June, they got about 40.5 million roughly estimated right now. And then September's going to be about 69, so about $30 million more. And then if they also increase more hash rate here in August to get to 18, that should help them out. They might be getting to like 75,000. That's with Bitcoin being where it's at right now. If Bitcoin goes up even higher, then we could be looking at them being even higher at that point as well. So it's going to be really, really good growth here for them, which is nice to see, because compared to what they were getting last year, well, they finally peaked from what they were getting last year. Last year, they were at 35 million at the end of Q1 in 2024. And then they were going down into the halving event, and then finally started to rebound here in December, as well as March did a little bit better, and then June was a nice improvement, about 13 million for that improvement, and now we're looking at maybe close to 30 million improvement in revenue for them as well. So that's looking great. So I love seeing that, and yeah, wish them a speedy recovery to 25 exahash. But I love the growth. Growth in their operations have been always great as far as efficiencies, uptime. Cost has been a little high, but I think that's going to come down with getting in newer miners, more efficient miners, and also having more hash rate installed in Paraguay, which should help out because I think they have a lower cost there as well. All right, that is it. I think we covered. Oh, one final thing we got to go through is the crypto report, basically from the White House here. That came out today. There's a lot to it. It's a lot of it is just what they see as things to do. So recommendations going forward on all these topics here. So the topics include the digital asset ecosystem, right? So they look at market size, trends, market participation, key regulators and oversights, market activities. So they kind of give you an overview more or less of what's going on there. Digital asset market structure, establishing a taxonomy for digital assets, enabling trade of digital assets at the federal level, creating a lasting framework for digital asset market structures, banking and digital assets, right? Stablecoins and payments, countering illicit finance, taxation, and table of recommendations. So under all of these things, they have recommendations, what they're basically putting out there that either Congress has to do or different organizations in the United States government have to do. Let's see here. Here it is. So always they have these kind of recommendations here. American citizens and businesses should be able to own digital assets, use blockchain technologies for lawful purposes without fear of prosecution. Likewise, American entrepreneurs and software developers should have the liberty and the regulatory clarity, certainty, to upgrade all sectors of our economy using these technologies, right? So they're, And then Congress should enact legislation, right? So they're giving all these kind of recommendations here on all the stuff that they talk about in each one. They go into Crypto 101. Let's see here. Software wallets, so they go through how that all works, which is, I think, really good. Hardware wallets, how those work, user flow, right, on that. So they provide these kind of diagrams for people that are novices that don't really understand it, how all this stuff works. So this is very detailed and very well written. It's obviously why it's taking them probably close to, 6 months to get this done. Like Chapter 2, Digital Asset Economy, they got the different cryptocurrency market caps throughout time. They're definitely educating people. I think this is more to educate the congressmen and women there, along with the House as well. So that, I'm grateful for this. This is great. And you guys should definitely read this, or at least run it through an AI agent, see what it spits out for you. But down here, where was it? Then they go into, again, basically isolator. Where was it that I saw it? Blockchain network support. Here it is. Mining and stacking, mining proof mining, all this stuff, recommendations. And then towards all the way at the bottom here, they have for each one of these things here, actual recommendations. Going to it. Where is it at? We're getting close. I don't want to make it. Okay, here we go. So this is kind of cool. For each one of these things, topics being covered here, I really need to dive into this and see what all this is about here. But from what I just started reading here a little bit today, I didn't get far. Table of recommendations, right? So digital asset market structure, recommendations enabling the trading of digital assets at the federal level. Immediate action, right? Who has to do something about this? The SEC, right? Something about this. The SEC has to do something about that. They list the SEC in quite a few things. The CFTC as well, what they should be doing or working on. And then down here, you also have some stuff where Congress has to do. Congress, basically SEC, CFTC, who would have to take a part in that. So there's a lot that still has to be done here in order to provide that clarity in this space going forward. But I'm going to be reading this probably over the next couple of days as I have time, just to kind of understand all the stuff that's happening in there and really see if there's anything of concern. But I don't think there's going to be anything of concern based on that. We got David Sachs there. He's really smart on this stuff. So I think it's all going to be good. I think this is going to be really good. This definitely will position the United States as being a leader in the crypto space here going forward, which is what we want, right? We want to be the lead on this. We don't want to be following somebody else. We want to be the lead on this. So this was really good as well. All right. That is it. We have a poll running as well for you guys in the chat. Will the Fed cut rates in September? It's 50-50 right now. Well, actually, yeah, it's 50-50. Some say no, some say yes. Between 50 and 51% now. It's 51% say no, that the Fed will not cut it. We shall see what that happens. On that one. All right, let's get into Q&A here really quick, and we'll call it a day. Tomorrow, Riot is reporting tomorrow their quarterly results as well, so we'll cover that when it happens. But that is it. Let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say, if anything. And Bitcoin's up $480 right now, so we're bouncing back up. Okay, as always, questions, if you could preface those with a question mark or Q, I would appreciate it. And I'm going to work my way up as always on the comments and work my way down as always. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Ruben says, it just seems that a lot of people pushing about high institutional ownership, but seems like a nothing burger. Well, they have been buying, the institutions have been buying a lot. They're like 60%, 70% of some of these guys owned by institutions as it is right now. So the institutions could be shorting them, could be going long on them, and they're going to play the market. They're going to be the ones that determine the path of these guys, unfortunately. In the past, it was retail. Retail was the ones that were pumping these things like crazy. This time around, it's more institutions that are in these guys than anything else. So we are kind of at their mercy, but I think as Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be by the end of the year, miners will follow as well. The Metaplanet says Cleanspark has been curtailing because of the heat in the southwest, mining 17 BTC per day compared to 23 last month. Yeah, it's been hot. We finally got a cool wave, at least through here where I live in Illinois, but it's still going to be hot towards the west, and it was hot towards the east of us. So them also having issues with maybe the electrical there, getting that resolved, getting that fixed, that should help them out. All right, let's see here. D. Roy's got a question. In order for Bitcoin to go to 200,000 this year, like some analysts suggest, that would be 4,500 increase every week till the end of the year. I don't see it. Do you? I do see it because I mean we could be up quite nice. We could go up $10,000 in a day, $15,000 in a day sometimes. So that's not out of the question here. And if you take it, how many weeks do we have left? We got basically August, September, October, November, December. So we got 5 months. Let's just say there's 4 weeks in each one. So that's 20 weeks. 20 weeks. And we need to go up approximately, what, 80,000? 80,000 divided by 20 weeks. That's about $4,000 per week. I think it's doable. I think some weeks we could do 10,000 or more, but it's definitely not out of the question here. We'll see where we get to. So yeah, I do think it's possible. I think somewhere between 150,000 to 200,000 is what we'll get to by the end of the year. Let's see. 203 says Bitcoin being up so much is really not a catalyst to make Cleanspark Mara go up. So what would it take? I feel like all the times they diluted ruined the stock, and that's why it's stuck. Well, Cleanspark's not diluting this year, right? Mara is diluting, we know that. But was that the reason for it? I think it's just, I think the market makers are more controlled than ever before. So they're could be going long on Bitcoin, shorting the miners, right? Having a hedge there. And eventually, I think as the miners become more and more profitable, they should be rewarded for that as well. And we'll see that, I think. Right? If we look at just from the bottom of where we bottomed out in, April of this year, the miners have done pretty well compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up like 20 or 30% or something like that. Miners were up 60% plus. So they have outperformed Bitcoin here, at least in the short term. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case here going in the next 3 to 6 months, whatever it might be. Okay, DeFi says, which miners are you willing to bet that will outperform most between Mara versus Cleanspark? I have 100,000 or 1,000 of both, but would you convert some Mara into Cleanspark at these levels? Well, you guys know I own a lot more Cleanspark than I do of Mara, right? The reason I own Cleanspark is because of our operations and growth and everything else. Just a lot better there for those reasons. Mara obviously has a heck of a lot more hodl position. But their operations are not always that great all the time. Cleanspark operations were down here as well, but they at least came out and said what's going on, what they're doing to remedy it. Mara at times is pretty hush about those things, and you can't really figure out what the heck is going on there. So there's pluses and minuses. I think there's more pluses to Cleanspark, but that's just me. That's kind of where I would stand on it. So, but as far as whether you should sell Mara and get into Cleanspark, that's going to be your decision on that one. See, Metaplan says, last 2 years, Mara is down 5% compared to BTC up 300%, underperformed BTC by only 305%. In the last 2 years, yeah. Ramani says, question, sold half my IREN 60% and Cypher 35% shares today, still holding my Cleanspark, down 5% and Bitfarms down 38%. Not sure if it's the right move, but at least I'll have some cash to invest if miners drop more. Okay? I mean, yeah, if you're in profit, you're in profit. Take profits. Nothing wrong with that. All right, 203 says, Michael Saylor said in an interview he believes Bitcoin will go to 170,000 and then crash hard. Hard as in like what, 30% correction, which we've seen here twice already this past year. I don't think that's going to be hard, but 170,000 and crash all the way down to what, 70? Well, we have to probably go down to maybe what, 80,000, because Michael Saylor's average cost is like 76,000, I think. Let's see. Mara adding stock-based compensation, 68, I think 68,592, and depreciation to the cash cost, 73 yields, all-in cost of 165,000. Absurd. Yeah, the compensation for the execs is out of control there. I would agree. All right. All right. Ben says, thank you from Coventry, UK. Awesome. Thanks for coming in. City says, looks fantastic. What does look fantastic? All right. Let's see. A.dev. Question, is it worth selling my Mara holdings at the small loss now that they are doing so poorly and putting the money into something else? If you're a small loss, might not be a bad idea. Could they rebound as Bitcoin goes up? Possibly. Well, that's the tough part. It's now trying to pick the right horse that might outperform here in the next 3 to 6 months. And that's not easy. I like to pick based on metrics, operations, uptime, all that stuff. That's how I like to do it. But sometimes that also doesn't play out properly. I mean, IREN has done very well based on that, right? Cleanspark also has, for the most part, been lagging. It got to $24 back in, what was it, 2024? Then it's come back down. It still hasn't gotten back to it. But, could it get back up to that and beyond that? I think so. So, yeah, it's going to be your call on that one. Okay, let's see. Continuation of the question, I guess, here. Is it worth to bite the sour apple and eat the small loss in Mara and put the rest of money into Cleanspark or IREN? Which of these two are better than Mara? Well, they're both better than Mara, to be honest, as far as operations are concerned. Random says, hello, hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. MetaPlanet says, cash is better than Mara. Yeah, depending on when you look at it, when you got into it and stuff like that. Yep. Let's see, Dynamite Uber, question, channel your inner Rex Finance. What's your Moonboy price estimate for Cleanspark? My Moonboy price, I think we can possibly get to above $35, I think. All right, that would be kind of like my moon price. It could even go higher than that, but I'm being more conservative than anything else. My lowball price would be around $24, I think. Right, we should be able to get at least to where we got to just like a year and a half ago. But I could definitely do better than that, depending where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin goes to 130,000, 140,000, and that's it. Then yeah, these guys are not going up that high. But if Bitcoin continues to go up, I think they will do very well also. All right, which miners are you? Oh, okay, talked about that one already. Yep, talked about that one already. Let's see, Victor C. Can Ethereum hit 5,000 by September? Well, it's at 3,800 right now, right? That's by September, so you only have a month left. That might be a little tight. Might be, I mean, unless all crypto starts running here in August, then maybe. But I think I'd give it maybe a 50% chance of getting there. All right. CG question, just tuned in, but have we all changed our minds with Hive and are now buying it like crazy? I mean, I love the growth there. Like I keep saying, the growth is freaking fantastic there with them getting to 25. I love that. As you guys know, if you guys have been watching me for at least 2 to 3 years, I've been harping on them for not growing as fast as some of the other miners. Been harping on them about only wanting to be at 1% of the network hash rate. I'm like, you got to grow. You got to get to scale. And if they don't get to scale, it's on them. But they are doing that right now, which I love. My only holdout on them is no operations in the United States. I don't know if that's going to be a detriment or not. May not be. Right now we're seeing the two Canadian miners, basically Hive and Bitfarms. I think Hive is doing a little bit better here than Bitfarms. Maybe we have to look at the stats here recently, but yeah, I mean, they're not getting the love. So I don't know. All right. See, DFly is asking, are you buying CEP? This is the counter equity trying to be MicroStrategy. No, I'm not buying any of those strategy companies. None of those are treasury companies, I should say, whether it's for Bitcoin or for, Ethereum. I did see, what was it, the one that came out, was it yesterday? Came out for Binance Coin. Somebody's going to do a treasury on that. That thing ran up like 400% or something like that in a day. Was that, I heard that, right? That's just insane. It's going to probably come crashing back down to earth here. Those things are, at least recently, what I've seen here is a lot of pump and dumps on people. So I'm not getting into those right now. I think if you're going to do that, you might as well just buy the asset outright. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever it might be, you might as well buy it outright directly anyways. Gary, he's got a question here. Strange IREN in the worst state in the U.S., but never forced to curtail, although do occasionally if asked to support the grid. Advantage to having world-class data centers other miners don't. Can't argue with you on that one. I mean, they built out their data centers here, right? So Hive, or not Hive, well, Hive didn't, but Cleanspark did go out and buy data centers, right? So ones that were already operational. I mean, you can only look under the hood so much, but can you look under the hood to see what the cables are underneath? Probably not. Well, you might be able to. But those are the things that you end up dealing with, right? So you find the issues, resolve them, fix them, and you're good to go for the next 20 years or something like that. So yeah, I agree with you there. There is something to be said about building out your own sites there. DeFi, did we bottom on Cleanspark? Maybe run after earnings? Maybe. Cleanspark's come down here as well as everything else here recently. Let me see here. Pull that one up on the chart really quick. Cleanspark, there it is. Okay, let's go here. You guys can see it. I got to 1366. It's come down 1142. I mean, that's probably what, 20% correction on it from the top. If we count that to the bottom was, yeah, about 18%. We're at like 16% correction overall. Still not too bad, but I mean, we see this with the miners, especially when Bitcoin goes sideways for a while. These things just continue to bleed out for whatever reason. I think investors are impatient. They're trying to, catch the next hype. So they get into it, they run them up, and then they slowly, as Bitcoin kind of stagnates a little bit, these guys come down. So then once Bitcoin starts running up again, these guys will pump up again as well. That's kind of the way I see it, at least. All right, let's go back here. Let's see, Andrew. All right, sold my Mara shares, 4,000, up 70%, bought 2,000 more IREN and 30,000 Bitfarms shares. Very nice. Nicely done, nice rotation there. Michael Taylor, what was the update today about the crypto reserve from Trump? That they have a lot of legislation and a lot of things to straighten out going forward, right? It's basically 160 some odd pages of recommendations, not only for Congress, but SEC, CFTC as well. Just a bunch of different recommendations that are based on all the different aspects of the crypto space. So definitely read through it. I'm going to read through it later on this week as well. If not, run it through an AI and ask it a bunch of questions on it. It's a great way to do it as well. Yep. Thoughts on Cleanspark upcoming earnings from DeFi question. So I think they're going to be positive. The only question that I have here for them is based on, let me see here. If we look at the ESP that I have for them, or EPS, where it is, there it is. Okay, so based on what we know, and based on, the only thing I don't know is the trading desk strategy that they have there. How much Bitcoin are they allocating to that, and does that get counted towards HODL, or is that being used as something else and you can't use it as a HODL? That's the only question I have there. But Cleanspark should be positive EPS, somewhere between $1.41 and $1.13. Again, depending on how much of their HODL. If it's all HODL being used for HODL, then it's fine. That's kind of where we're going to be at. But if a portion of it is, they have a, $200 million line of credit. Is it $200 million or $100 million? I can't remember now with Coinbase. I don't know if some of those coins are being used there for collateral as well. That might kind of offset things. But regardless, even if you take out the HODL and depreciation, they still should be positive on the EPS with about 15 million in net revenue at that point, somewhere around there. But then again, that'll depend on stock-based compensation. What does that come in at? And also depreciation. What does that come in at? If it comes in higher than what we saw in Q2 by 15 million, then they're going to be in the negative. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. All right, let's go back here. Talked about that one. Let's see here. DeFi. Will you buy BMNR? This is Tom Lee, Ethereum Treasury Company. I am not getting into those. Right? If I wanted to buy Ethereum, I'd buy it directly. Why would I get into a holding company basically for it? Yes, they do get a premium. We saw that obviously when they first came out. They had a huge run up on all these guys, and then they've crashed back down a little bit. When you look at their MNAV, it seems a little high. Would like to see that lower. The lower it goes, there's a better chance of getting into it at a good time, and then having it possibly run with Ethereum going up or something like that. Why is IREN up after hours? Do not know. It is interesting that IREN is up in the after hours right now. Let me see, how much is it up right now? IREN is up still, it's still showing me 3.34%. So bouncing back up a little bit here. We'll see what it does tomorrow. Anyway, we're dang only $35 for Cleanspark. I think Rex Finance price target is triple digit. You gotta dream bigger, Seb. LOL. I can dream, right? I could say it's going to $200, but in the next 6 months, I don't think so. I'd be happy somewhere between 20 and 50 bucks, to be honest. Somewhere between there, I would be happy with that. DeFi says I have Cleanspark 100,000 or 100,000 in Cleanspark, but all it does is go down. I don't recall double-digit days gains for a while. Missed the good old days. This is the last cycle I'm buying miners. Just going to buy BTC or MicroStrategy. Yeah, I mean, I would say give it a little bit more time. In the next 3 to 6 months, we might do really well, and they'll surprise you, and then you'll be like, you know, it wasn't that bad, right? If you can get, I think most of us would be happy with 100% gains. If you can get like 200 or 300% gains, oh, that's great. If you can do that over even 2 years or 3 years, if you average it out, you're getting 100% gains. Can you get that in the S&P 500 or NASDAQ? Probably not. So we're still outperforming the regular markets, which is the main goal here, is to do that. So, but have there been other things that have done better? Sure, right? And it's always hindsight, and hindsight is 2020 on the way when you're looking backwards. That's what I'm trying to say. Right, what else we got here? Would you buy Bitfarms over Mara? The way that Bitfarms is priced right now, I think it's undervalued. Mara, I think, is getting closer to its proper valuation, or still a little bit undervalued, but getting close to it. We're not getting any updates from Bitfarms, so I can't really see how they're doing in operation-wise. I like seeing what's going on there. I can see, you know, progress or something that's lack of progress. If something's getting worse, we can see that. When you get reports every quarter, you're kind of 3 months out on the details happening there. A lot can change in that time frame. All right, we still don't know about the sites in Argentina. Are those still being affected by not getting power there? Has that been resolved? We haven't heard anything on that. So I don't know. Right now, I own shares in Bitfarms. I'm holding on to them to see where this thing goes. And then also, I would maybe wait, maybe not. With Riot selling the shares there, Riot's still putting some pressure on it. So maybe it's not a bad time to buy some more. They're pretty low on it right now. And then if they get an HPCI deal for the Pennsylvania sites, that could be a great thing for them. Sadie asks, how many likes are too many likes? I don't think there can be such a thing. Defi, what are your concerns about Cleanspark? Cleanspark were my concerns. I mean, concerns would be, I'm trying to think. I don't think that I have too many concerns. I mean, obviously, I don't want to see them have outrageous pay packages, similar to what some others are having here. Wouldn't want to see that. I'd also, what are other concerns? Issues with sites, right? We saw a little bit of issue here right now, but it looks like it's getting fixed, so that's okay. And they took care of it relatively quickly here. So hopefully they'll be back up to around 22 Bitcoin per day here in a couple of days. What else? Other concerns. They do another ATM, right? And before that, they actually sell shares themselves. That was not a great look for them. Buy another plane? I don't think they're going to buy another plane. I'm fine with them having the plane. I don't see it as an issue. They have a lot of sites. I even said that at the time. I think, you know, if it makes sense financially for them, where they're actually possibly saving money on it, than doing regular airfare, okay, that works. Go ahead and do that. What else? I'm trying to think. Maybe not being able to grow going forward, right? Not being able to find sites that have megawatts. I think that might be a concern here for them. That's about it. That's about all I can think of right now. Let's see, Michael Taylor. Interest rates are not that bad in the United States. It is way worse in Canada right now. I mean, we're at 6 something right now if you're trying to get a loan on something on a house. I'm not sure where you guys are at right now. And I know in other countries in Europe, they're higher as well. Or they should be actually coming down here. I think I saw some of them lowering their interest rates. But it's still pretty high. I mean, my first house, when I bought it, it was 7.25% at that point. And I think I was paying like, oh gosh, my mortgage at that point, just my mortgage and like private mortgage insurance included in that was like $1,600 or $1,800. And that was for a townhouse that was like 1,400 square feet. Now, I actually have a larger house, which is kind of interesting. I have a larger house, about double that size, and I'm paying only like $1,200. Big difference, right? Bigger house, everything else, and I'm paying less. So go figure. But that's because the interest rates are high. I got in pretty low interest rates. I got it in at like 2%. So I'm not selling this house anytime soon. Okay, Victor's got a question here. After the pump and dump Ethereum, will they pick up the momentum like BMNR? Will they pick up the momentum? Well, is BMNR actually picking up momentum right now? Take a look at BMNR. Kind of looked at it here earlier on, but I don't remember what it did. BMNR. Okay, so BMNR seems to be rather flat right now. Kind of going down actually, because it was at one point right around here, 40.02, and it went down to 32 something. It's coming back up a little bit to 34.4. But yeah, I mean, these things had a huge pump and a dump, right? We saw that on all these guys here that we cover. And I think we might see that the same thing with the one that's buying now Binance coin as their treasury. So we got to see how this shakes out. I think, people got overexcited a little bit on these things. And it might be a little time before they shake out, get revalued properly, right? Depending on what kind of MNAV you want to give it to their hodl of Ethereum, to what the market cap is of the company there. And should they get a 2x MNAV? I don't think so. I think somewhere between 1 and 1.2, I think is pretty fair. If you think Ethereum or Bitcoin's going up, you might get a little bit of a premium there at that point, and they do sometimes front run it as well. They can get overexcited, go above even 2, 3 MNAV there, and then they come back down. So you got to watch that, right? If you get in at a good spot where the MNAV is under, I think 1.2, you're in a pretty good spot there. Or if you can get into it where the MNAV is like under 1, that might be even better. But that's going to be hard to do with a lot of these guys here. And then hold on to it until they do go up quite nicely. And then as you're seeing the MNAV getting kind of stretched out to closer to 2 or beyond 2, that's might be a good signal to take profits at that point, or at least take some off the table at that point. All right, let's go back here. All right, 203 says, Cleanspark can have the best earnings of all time. If Bitcoin isn't up on earnings day, it will close red. That's the annoying thing about holding miners. Yeah, you got to have patience. You got to have a pretty strong stomach for this space. It's so volatile, and so sometimes it doesn't even make any sense, right? Sometimes we see the miners going up 10, 15, 16, 20% in a day, while Bitcoin's actually down, which doesn't make any sense. So sometimes we do see the miners front run what's going on with Bitcoin there, especially on days like that. You can kind of foretell a little bit about what's going to happen in Bitcoin possibly. All right, let's see. Michael Taylor says, at least your guys' income is high. Our income is so crap. Doctors and high-paid professionals leave for the United States. LOL. Yeah, I mean, what can I say about that? Michael says, I truly hope Canada becomes the 51st state. Careful what you wish for there sometimes. Garrett, all right. Question, Rex Finance predicted Cleanspark to 500 years ago and came out with predictions earlier this year. IREN was a bankruptcy risk. Seb is more neutral. Rex is heavily biased. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know Rex is a big-time Cleanspark bull, which is okay, but you got to be a little bit, I think, a little bit more open-minded on these things. I saw IREN early on as well. If you guys recall, if you guys were watching my streams going back to 2022, 23, actually probably 2022, I was interested in IREN at that point. Started looking at it and thinking I wanted to buy into it. I told you guys at that point I was going to buy into it, but I waited because of their special purpose vehicles got pulled on them, basically. The loans that they had on the miners got taken away. At that point, they lost like 3 exahash, and they were only like 3.8 or 4 point something exahash. So they took a huge hit on them. And I said at that time, I want to see how they do going forward here, but I do believe that they had some potential. One, they had good operations, good uptime, things like that. And sure enough, they turned this, turned it all around, and within a year or so, they did very, very well here. So, and I got into them last year when I saw the turnaround story happening with them, and I sold actually a portion of my Cleanspark shares to buy actually IREN shares there. So, both of them have done pretty well here recently. I'm up over 100% on both of them, so I'm happy. Cleanspark right now is a little bit higher. IREN's obviously had a pullback here, but they're still doing really good. So. You got to be a little bit more open, and maybe I'm a little bit more data driven. So that's the way I look at it. It's not just, I'm a fanboy of one. I'll look at the data and look at the other one and go, they're doing great. Can't complain there. Let's see. Cleanspark is down 29% on the year. Yes, it is. Other miners are also down quite a bit as well from the beginning of the year. SK's got a question here. White Fiber is expecting $15 per share. How much BitDigital shareholders get, and how many shares of White Fiber? Oh, gosh. We could probably, I don't have the data on it. I'll look into it. I'll see if I can find it. I don't know if the prospectus is out there where it lists how many shares are going to be given out to but you might get something there for it. I don't know if it's going to be 20% of the company or whatever that's going to be figured out. Let me look into that. I'll look into that. Bit Digital, BTBT, white fiber, and shares. All right, put a big question mark next to it, and we'll see what we can find out on that. All right, got that one. White and White. Seb, how do you stay so calm holding the miners, even blue chip tech companies outperforming these junks by miles? The only reason I'm so calm is because I held on to Hive from 2017, 2018 through 2021 and finally sold it in 2023. So I've been through this. Same thing with Bitcoin. I've held Bitcoin since 2017. I see the trajectory where things are going, and I think we're going to be going up higher. So again, I mean, some of the blue chips have done really well. If you got into NVIDIA, you're doing really, really good. But at that point, when NVIDIA, let's see, when did I start buying the miners again? In 2022? And I was buying a little bit here, buying a little bit there. I was just continually adding on to it. So could I have bought something else? Yeah, possibly. But I like being able to see what's going on with the miners and having the data there on it. I don't know if that reassures me in my decision, maybe. And just kind of, I stay cool with it, right? It's not, so the other part of it is I still have about 20 some odd years of working ahead of me, all right? So if I make a mistake here on these things, I can have the next 20 years to make it up. If I lose it all, which I don't expect I'm going to lose it all, but I have that kind of mindset. It's like, if this is for a longer time period, if I outbeat the S&P 500, I'm happy. And that's kind of the way I look at it. All right, Victor C. Question: Ethereum treasuries are low MNAV like BMNR. Would you consider getting in now? Well, we looked at the MNAV on these guys at least yesterday. I don't have the data for where they are today. Let me see if I can pull that one up here right now. Ethereum treasury companies. Okay, that's loading. Let's take a look. Here it is. So BMNR came in at 1.64 right now, based on what I'm seeing here at least on that one. So that's actually gotten lower. That's actually pretty good because it was at like 1.8, I think, yesterday when we looked at it. So it has come down here. Again, don't know if the Ethereum holdings are accurate here. I think they're pretty close to that. But 1.64 still seems a little high for me, right? Unless you really think that Ethereum is going to be going up, I would say 50% from where it is right now in the next 3 months or so, then okay, I could see it being about 1.6, 1.5 MNAV. If you think Ethereum is going up 100%, right, then it should be like 2x from here, or MNAV of 2. But that's why I say it shouldn't be more than 2. Yes, they can get overexcited, run up quite quickly, and then they do fall back. We saw the same thing with MicroStrategy last year, right? It got to $540 and then pulled back. I was saying at that point, like, if the MNAV is just crazy on it, it's got to come back down to reality. It just doesn't make any sense there. So, and it did. So you got to watch that a little bit, I think, as well. Right now, it looks like BTCS is at 0.88, so that one's actually got a negative one there. That might be an interesting one to look at, possibly. But definitely, BMNR's got Tom Lee in there. It's also got, what's her name? Kathy Woods investing in that as well. They have the most Ethereum holdings as it is right now, so they're going to be getting even more probably, right? So keep an eye on the MNAV and just see if they're buying more Ethereum or not, and what does that MNAV then change to, basically, at that point. Okay, let's go back here. Got a couple more questions, and we'll call it a night. All right. Let's see. Michael Taylor says, interest rates here are 5% at an average of 1 million. Well, that's not too bad then. Ours are higher than that. Okay, for Crapbox rundown home. Let's see. Gary says Canada is 2.75, US is 4.5, I believe. Canada dollar sucks though, 70 cents compared to, yeah, I mean, their housing is higher there as well. Based on that, by Google undervalued. I would say Google with their AI. That thing is impressive like crazy. So you guys probably saw the thumbnail today. That was generated by AI. I wanted to see if I can save time on the thumbnails. Sure enough, I did. Usually it takes me like 20 minutes to 30 minutes to do a thumbnail. I got that thumbnail done in basically, well, I thinking about the title of the video, right? That always took me some time. Coming up with the proper wording and everything else, that always took me some time. So when I'm preparing for a video, it always takes me like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to prepare just for those two things alone. Not to mention everything else that I do as far as, finding the bullish stories, getting the stories on the miners, everything else. So I'm like, I got to see if AI can help save me some time. Put in some details into Gemini, popped out the graphic there. Like, this is great. This would have taken me, half an hour to do. And then asked it, based on what's going on here with Bitcoin, asked it for a title for the YouTube video as well. Popped it out, gave me a whole list of YouTube videos I could possibly choose from. Picked the one that I thought was the most accurate as far as what's going on here. And saved myself basically, 25, 40 minutes. So that's huge. So I'm going to try this out, see how this goes. Going forward, if I can save time, right, I don't have to do the thumbnails, everything else, that just saves time. But we'll see how it does with, you guys know me, so people that do know me, you guys will know it's me. Others that might get attracted to it, we'll see. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just, for me, it's about time savings. I do this in my spare time, so I want to spend some time with my family as well. And this will help me at least get some of my time back, at least a little bit. I also think another one to look at is Meta. Meta, I think, had great numbers here recently. Who else had great numbers? Meta's been on a roar since like 2 years ago. It's had a huge increase in that one as well. But that was because they were going into the Metaverse, and now they're going back into AI and things like that. And they're spending a lot of money there. I think that's another one to watch. I'd love to get in on XAI, but that one's still private. It's not public. Grok is also freaking fantastic when it comes to AI. So it's going to be an interesting race here. I think the next 10 years, AI, quantum, power, those are the things we want to get into here. And even Bitcoin mining as well. We'll see how the miners do. If we don't have another cycle where Bitcoin goes down 70-80%, the miners might actually do here pretty well. But we'll see. But there's other things I think that might actually beat out some of the miners here, depending on where Bitcoin goes. All right. If IREN gets an AI deal, what's your price target at that point? It also depends on what kind of a deal do they get. Is it for 50 megawatts? Is it for 2 gigawatts? Right? That'll be a determining factor as far as where it could go. But regardless, if it gets only from, let's just say it gets 50 megawatt deal, I think it should be at least $30 or higher at that point. Right? And we could be going, if it gets a 2 gigawatt deal, we're looking plus maybe $100 at that point. All right, so Melon, if it's an extended cycle, are you going to hold miners longer? I'll hold some shares. I don't think I'm going to hold all the shares there. At a certain point, I want to be able to pay off some of the debt that I have for student loans. Just get that off. I want to be done with it. Don't like writing that check every month. So I want to pay that off, pay some other stuff off, and maybe finish out the basement down here, finish out my little dungeon, get a little bit nicer studio going on here where it's actually insulated and you guys can't hear my kids and my dog upstairs running like crazy or screaming. A little bit better soundproofing and sound padding, things like that. So that's kind of what I'd want to do. Let's see, where is it at? DeFi, Riot has been killed. Killed it? Why? I'm not sure what. DeFi, I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's see here. I have 400,000 all-in miners, IREN, Cleanspark, Mara, and my nuts. This includes my 401k alone. No, because I have more. I'm in it even more. If you include my just personal account for investing in the miners, plus what I have for my retirement account, it's basically low 7 figures. Yeah, that's crazy, right? That's insane. But again, I have 20 plus years ahead of me to work. I can work it off if things go south here. I don't think they will, but yeah. All right, Victor. Let's see. Is BMR considered low at the current? Talked about it already, right? With Victor, we talked about that one. I think you know what I meant there, Victor. Yep. Thanks. Yep. No problem. All right. Gary, IREN has, after a 25% pullback, still higher than old 52-week high. No other miner has reached in 2025. Chart experts called IREN back to 6, so 16 is fine before July report come out. Yeah, I think 16, we might go down a little bit more than that. I think there's some better support on IREN around, I think it was 15. I think it was around $15 and $13 if we look far enough back on it. $13 I think is like the bottom of things. We do have some support. I probably should put up the screen though for you guys. That would help. Right here, right? I mean, we kind of touched it. We kind of bounced off of this support right there. We saw that. We did that yesterday, actually, 1530 or so. So we got that support. If this holds, at that point, we might be coming down. I mean, I don't really see anything. I would say like right around there, 1340, something like that. Might be support there as well. So, I mean, if you can get it at those levels, great. And then we just got to wait to see what they report as far as any improvements in negotiations with any of the hyperscalers when they report their quarterly results. Hopefully there is something. Obviously the market thinks there is. Let's see. DeFi says BNR has 2.58. The market cap is 3.5 billion. Yeah, it's got like 1.68 MNAV on it. So it's still a little high there. Let's see. TX. SoFi is my number one position, waiting for Cleanspark to break out and buying more SoFi. Okay. Let's see. Was applied earnings any good? I don't know. I didn't look into that one. I'll look at that one tomorrow. Let's see what that one's doing. I know that one obviously has the deal with CoreWeave as well. So we'll take a look at that one. All right. Michael says, SoFi getting a few downgrades because of the offering. Okay. And Gary, IREN was able to clear over bought state without going below 15, which was old high. Yeah, I covered that. We talked about that one just a second ago. More Tim. Gary, I own a lot of shares of IREN, but don't you think they need to put up or shut up by now? I'm with you on that one, right? We've been hearing for a long time, but again, with them, they have optionality. So they could get an HPCI deal, or they could go their own way and become a possibly hyperscaler. It's going to be more costly, but they could do it. Or they could just continue going into more Bitcoin mining. So they have the optionality there. They got the sites. It's just what makes best sense for them going forward. All right. Gary says, question, if an extended cycle keeps going another year or two, doesn't that mean the cycles... That's what I've been saying here the whole time. With all the adoption that we're seeing here, I think the cycles are dead. We'll see, basically, in a year, I think we'll know. I would think by this time next year, if Bitcoin's going up to like 250,000 or something like that, yeah, the cycle's probably dead, right? All right. More Tim. Seb, BTC was 106,000 in mid-December. Now, 7 months later, barely 10% higher. Doesn't seem like a bull market, not a bear, but hardly a bull. Extended cycle, right? That's what I mean by an extended cycle. We're going to be going up, maybe 20, 50% a year, but we're going to be going up, I think. That's at least my thought process on it because of all the adoption. We've had these extended periods of time where Bitcoin consolidates or goes down 30%, where it's 4 or 5 months, right? We've had that already twice in the last year alone, last 365 days. And then we've also seen prior cycles, Bitcoin would, once it started rallying, it would rally hard, correct 30% plus a little bit within a couple of days to maybe a week, and then bounce back straight up to a new all-time high. We're like taking that short time frame of what everything happened last cycles, and we're basically stretching it out. So if you look at it more or less, instead of looking at a day chart on the 2021 cycle or 2017 cycle, look at like the 15-minute chart, but make it daily. That's kind of what we're looking at, I think. Okay, talk about that. Gary, IREN never disappoints on monthly reports at 50x hash. Will kill their record coins mined. Days they can drop will end next week. Yeah, I think they're going to have a great month as well. We'll see how much they curtailed as well. We saw, obviously, Mara curtailing a lot. Mara, I mean, we'll see. Mara might still be the top one there, but definitely IREN should have a great month for them. Should be a record for Bitcoin production as well. Being at 50x hash for a full month, that's going to be great for them. So, all right, that is it. We'll come up to all you guys' questions here as always. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate you guys. Spreadsheets, as always, will be available to my Patreon members. The link is down in the description for you guys. A couple bucks a month, as always, my sales pitch there. Other than that, tomorrow, Riot is reporting tomorrow, so we'll cover that. We'll see what happens there. And we'll see how much compensation is part of their whole operations. What did they earn? We'll talk about everything that happens tomorrow, obviously, at that point. And then we'll cover anything else that happens. All right? So thank you all for coming in, as always. Love you all. Hope you guys have a great night. Hope you have a great Thursday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.